Okay, this is the Council and Finance Committee calling the meeting to order February 13th, and we're called to order at 6:07 p.m. And as we have remote members tonight, roll call attendance, please.
Jerome Bazikas.
David Walker.
Mary Jane Churchville here.
Carol Hofstas present.
Sam Grant present.
Ron Hayes present. With 6 members, we have a quorum. We are good to continue. This meeting is being recorded, played on Channel 9. It will be replayed on Channel 9 and uploaded to YouTube. And just to confirm, nobody else is recording this meeting tonight. If you are, let us know. Nobody being heard, or there is no additional recording going on. Item 4 on the preliminary is no addition. I have no additions or deletions at this point in time, and we're moving to the work session. And we'll delay the joint meeting with the select board until there is a quorum for the select board, at which time we'll bring everybody online and launch that joint meeting also. Moving on with the budget reviews that we were going to do, we'll start with the tree warden budget. And we have no budget in front of us, so I'm going to share in the room, make sure I can share.
Don, what tab is the tree warden under?
We don't have it in the book, so we're going to have to share the BVA from this year.
Okay.
Review there's no changes, so it's going to be level funded FY25 to 26. So in just a sec. BVA, we'll try to get the 2 computers.
Where is the tree warden now?
Don
Can you blow that up a little?
Yeah,
Dawn
I'll get it.
Masuka.
Thank you.
So there's no budget, you're telling us?
There's no
There-
budget in the book, but the budget is going to be the same as it is in FY25.
Yeah,
So-
doesn't he have to tell us that?
Well, no, I actually spoke to Don on the phone, and you know, he did say everything was just level funded, so he didn't formally submit one. So, but I did speak to him on the phone about it.
So, all right.
Okay, so
What page is that? Or what's the
15.
number? 294.
294.
Thank you.
Let's see if this works. The Massachusetts one.
okay, Sam, are you able to see it? No, sorry, is that better?
Right, was it always that high? Seems like it's high.
The tree warden?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was?
And let me go back and pull up. I have old years, so.
Okay, and Dave, you have the FY 2024.
Yes.
What was the salary in FY 24?
12,494.
12,000 for tree warden?
Well,
No.
the stipend,
The
which is
stipend
now
line.
saying 12,993. In 24, it was 12,494.
Okay, let me
Okay,
go
so
to the.
what's that makes a difference, because I was thinking
This is
22,000.
Now that's the total
That's a
department.
total retirement, right?
let me
This
go
one
to-
is through the end of June of 24, so this was for fiscal year 24. So- So we're looking at fiscal year 2025 on the screen. And so between 2024 to 2025, there was a $99 increase in the stipend for the tree warden.
So the stipend, is that
Right.
wages or is it just?
It equates to wages.
And I just, to answer Geraldine's question, in FY '21, the stipend was 11,663,
Okay. All
so
Yeah.
it always was.
So for the stipend, I did, increase it by just 4%, just between the COLA and STEP. So that would
Is
bring,
that part of his contract or did you just do it?
I just put it in. I haven't been able to find, what matrix he's under at the moment.
I was gonna
He's
say,
not
did you
under,
I was gonna say stipend employees, I thought.
we
were
just,
not- Were employees at
they
large,
were
not-
placed on Collins. We just went with whatever their stipend was
Mhm.
in the year that we implemented Collins. And we added the percentage or not, as the case may be. There was at least one year where they got no
Mhm.
increase because they're not union. They're at will.
Mhm.
It's a stipend. It isn't a salary.
Right, yeah, exactly.
It's not for hourly work.
Okay.
So,
So it could be frozen.
and we've probably done 2%, the cost of living, because a step doesn't go with them. But if we want to do 4% across the board, we see where that falls out, I guess.
Well, but-
Well, if he didn't ask for it,
Yeah, why, would-
I'd say let's leave it.
I did
Okay.
too.
Leave
It
at-
did increase by basically 4% from 24 to 25, so I just.
Did it do that?
Yeah. that
Yeah,
would be
then
the
we should
99.
do the regular as long as we can. We should talk later about, well, I'll bring it up later, about what we're gonna do if we don't get an
If we,
override.
yeah, I was gonna say, this is just getting
Oh,
all
yeah,
of,
that's
all
a
of
good
the.
point. If we don't get the override, this would be. one
But
of
we
the
should,
places
we
look
need to
at.
do this,
Mhm.
yeah.
Right. We need to get all of the items in the budget at the correct amounts, so that when we look at it and then look at what the revenues are gonna be and see where the gap is.
Well, I thought the rule was that according to DLS, if you don't submit a budget, it's automatically last year's budget.
You're right, the procedure.
So what's the,
That is the procedure.
Yeah, so
and
why-
That is the
why
process.
are we following it? Anybody have an answer?
I would say the tree, I don't know that the tree warden submitted budgets in the past. I think they were
Well,
I
put
will,
together.
can I just
Yeah.
say something? Because I have the FY '21 budget here. And I will tell you that those numbers under expenses are exactly the same as they
Mhm.
were in FY '21. Those have not changed.
And Don said, stick with those numbers.
Yeah, they haven't changed at all.
And what he said was, he just makes do with his budget.
Mhm.
Certainly, each and every year, since the amount stays the same, he just unfortunately accomplishes less and less year after year. But, he didn't really complain about it. He was
Yeah.
content with, his budget staying the same.
so that being said, that means this budget is the same without the 4% stipend increase, correct?
Well, correct, yes.
His salary too?
Well, so everything else his expenses would stay the same, but.
Scientists recommend this.
I think
I
he
have no
should,
idea.
get a slight bump in his stipend. It just seems,
He does work for the town. I'm okay with putting that in there. And then we back out where we have to, but, this is
No, I think we should be following the state rules.
No,
They aren't
that's not a
state
state rule.
rules.
That's a town policy.
So that if you don't have the budget submitted, that you go back to last year.
That's the overall budget, but department by department is managed by the town policy. So yes, the state says we have to have our budget in place. If not, we fall back to the prior year's numbers, and you basically do the 12-month piece until you have a new budget. In this case, we haven't had the hard and fast. We haven't stuck to it. Usually things are in such matter of flux that we haven't been, usually this is the earliest we've seen budgets. Usually it's into mid-March and April before.
Push in at the top.
Oh,
Not, well, that can fall down. If you push in, it'll fall down.
Okay, someone needs to mute
What I do all
themselves,
the time.
please.
We can.
I think it's
Yeah.
Right below my hat.
All right,
So,
right.
but this, to your point, this is a place to review and mark as we can come back and take a look at it when if we're not able to come up with the money. And again, I think the tree warden has always been prepared by somebody in the town administrator's office, not.
Actually, I think it's building or land use or
Well,
one of
building,
them.
Yeah. so-
Along with all the, the inspectors and
Well,
all that, it's
I was
always
gonna-
kind of fallen into that.
Right, so I don't know if it's building inspector or if it's land use.
Mhm. Both of which we're short-staffed.
We're short-staffed and new people coming in on the budget, so if we have something, we'll get to it this year. We've identified it now, and we can see who the department is that's actually responsible for creating the budgets. Well, these people, I think when we get to building inspector, we'll see very similar.
So we don't know who's responsible, is that what you're telling me?
Right now,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, don't know if it's land use and who's prepared it in the past. We can go back maybe and dig through
Well,
I
some of
thought
the.
all that stuff fell under building inspector, didn't it?
I'm not certain.
Right.
But that's
or- or-
usually
or-
where
Well,
it
I
came
guess
out.
if we get to the building
It
inspector's
usually
budget
came
and we
out.
see the tree warden in there, we'll know. Is that
Yeah.
gonna help? Will that help us?
I think it belongs to
Yeah.
building
Because I
department.
think-
Is it them? Is it highway? Is it land use?
Or not.
So it's kind of like if we don't have the structure, we don't know the right. We need to dig into.
I guess so, because
Right.
if it's gonna come up somewhere else, like the one with Kathy,
Mhm.
remember that, with the E-codes?
Right.
How that was a dupe, so I guess we have to be on the lookout for this, if it's in somebody else's budget.
We would see, code 294 in somebody else's budget.
Okay.
If it's coming up, so I did not see it in the book. And so as a result of that, that's why we're looking at the BBA. And again, if we look at the BBA stipend, it's 50%. This was through the end of December. The equipment rental was a little bit on the high side, but he's also got other purchase services that has not been used yet.
What kind of equipment does he rent?
I'm sure
Cranes and lifts.
Yeah, cranes and
Oh, from outside,
outside
Companies,
vendors.
So
yeah.
he can cut
So
the
he can
tree
cut the limbs
limbs
without-
and
yeah,
all
yeah,
that.
safely, yeah.
so this is only on town property, but it wouldn't be on town property where the Unitil would come and cut the trees, because don't they still do that too?
Yeah, I think those
Uniform.
trees would be the utilities' responsibility, but it's more like public trees, maybe
In the
in
common?
give an
common, things
example.
like that. You know, like shade trees or.
When we did the bike lanes for Shared Streets and Spaces grant,
Okay.
there were places where visibility was an issue on corners, and Dawn's the one that cut the trees for that, to make it so that a car could see a bicycle coming, those sorts of things. On, in the right of way, along the roads and things.
So if it was a
The
right,
corner up here was one of them, right here. Across the street down by the auto body place,
oh,
where the lane is there.
yeah.
There was a visibility issue there for cars and bikes. So that's an example
Yeah, I
of
see.
what he does. I'm sure there are other, or someone calls and says there's a tree down across the road,
He's the one who goes and gets it.
more than likely,
Okay.
or this tree is dead.
Okay, yes,
If I may,
Yes.
Yep.
I'm sorry I'm late, but it was town business. So, okay. I will call the joint meeting of the selectmen together at 6:23 p.m. on February 13th, 2025. Roll call.
Veronica Kell present.
Laura Schifrin present. If you'll join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for joining me, and express my appreciation to all the veterans, all of those currently serving, and all of our first responders, as well as their families. We have no additions or deletions, no minutes to approve, and we can go right into our joint meeting. And
Okay.
again, I apologize. Thank you, Don.
No worries. Kind of like, we had been discussing the tree warden budget. We did not have one in the book, so we were going by the FY 2025 PBA. And the discussion, just to catch you up, we have been discussing a 4% increase in the stipend, and leaving all of the other lines as they are today. With the
Level
same
funded.
level funded in the expense lines and the 4% on the stipend. Some of the discussion has been who's really responsible for the tree warden, because we didn't get a budget. I don't think it's the tree warden that would normally do it. Is it building inspector? Is it highway? Is it land use? Is it somebody else that would have the budget and present the budget in the forms that we have for this Department Code 294. So those are questions coming out.
So what's the amount of 4%?
I have 2 seconds ago.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Oh, it's in my liaison list. So
13,513.
Thank you.
Oh, it goes up to 13,513? Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
13,513.
That's up to 2%.
4.
4%.
Oh,
Yeah.
do you have a job description for the tree warden?
I don't have it right now, but I'm sure I can dig one up.
I have a question in reference to, and I don't know, Veronica, if you remember this, was there a Collins report done on?
Yes, and I don't think.
In what year?
It was done in 2019, well, might have been 2018. 2019 was when.
I thought it was 5 or so years ago.
Well, it was 2020 when we started to implement it.
Okay.
And this is a stipended position. This is not one that we got a job description for, or I haven't, I can tell you, but, or for electrical inspectors or for animal control or anything like that. Those are stipended positions. They aren't on the matrix. So we did not.
Did they get the stipend whether or not they would do anything?
Yes, it's a stipended position. They all do something.
Okay.
It's not like they're doing nothing. But it's
But who knows that?
So it's not per permit like a plumbing inspector or a fire
Yeah.
inspector.
right.
I think that's probably where you're.
And here are all it's the town employees who were put on Collins. There's no tree warden
Okay.
here. There's
All
no
right.
building, electrical inspector, all of those stipended jobs.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any questions, Sam or Carol on the phone?
No, I think everything's all right here.
And I'm good also.
Thank you. any further questions, or we want to see this in the same form, get it into the book the same way, or are we just good, okay, seeing this in the larger omnibus? So,
I think we should follow the rules. I think we should have a budget,
okay, you want to see the
Yeah.
backup?
unless it's somewhere else.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
if
no,
you can
it-
identify it in the building people. What would you say, land use?
It's in the omnibus budget, and it's usually towards the end.
I'm pretty sure it's building.
Before highway, kind of.
Yeah.
Between the building and highway, it kind of sits there, same place that animal control sits.
Yeah, it's right between animal control and the burial agent,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
those
Well,
are sort
no,
of.
I see it. I
of
can
which
see it
we
right here. I'm
don't
looking
have a
at, I'm
job
looking at,
description either, but
yeah.
those are stipended positions. And we just went with whatever the stipend was when we implemented columns.
So do we go with the 2 or the 4? Go with the
We're
4?
going with the 4 for this time.
At this point, to put it into the omnibus budget, and then once we have the whole omnibus budget together, along with numbers from both of the schools, we then look at the revenues that we anticipate getting, from your real estate tax, excise tax, the cherry sheets from the state, and all of those, and we put together the budget and look and see if it balances or if we have to make adjustments. But that would.
So we're going high so we can take it out. Is that our plan? If need be, if need be.
In
Yeah.
an
If-
ideal
It's level
world,
funded. Nothing else went up.
Nothing else.
Nothing else went up.
it
I
hasn't
understand
gone up
that part, but
for
this is like-
years.
It hasn't gone up for
The
years.
expenses for, it's been the same. I have FY21's
Okay.
BA and it hasn't gone up at all since then. And this is FY26. So we're
And
We're
when we-
running level for 5 years, easy on that.
And looking at where the tree warden is in the budget, he's a little over on the equipment rental, the target, this again is.
I hope so.
Looking at 50%, and the mileage is sitting at 36%. The dues and membership is sitting close to 19%, so there's not a lot of room. It seems as though the budget's being followed to, as best we can to, not overspending
Right.
in any, and,
So is there a place that we know when he does these cutting of the trees, or, I mean, is there a record somewhere?
Yeah, in the warrant, it would be, if he has to expend money, he has to
No,
submit a
I'm saying-
warrant for payment.
Don is saying that his equipment is over, his mileage is over, so do we have where he?
they're not
No.
over.
Oh, they're not over,
No,
oh,
they're-
I'm sorry, I
they're-
thought you said
so-
over,
No, it's over 50%.
yeah.
Because we're looking at December, but it's only over by 17%. So it's kind of like, so if we're looking through December, that's half a year.
Mhm.
If we're saying 50%, it's running on the high side, but it's not worrisome, it's not totally consumed yet. So it's not 100% used up, there's still money to be used
Okay,
in the account. Okay, no more questions with tree warden?
I'm good.
Okay, and we'll move on to Board of Health. And I apologize, I know, let me take a look at you. Let's see, Board of Health.
I see it.
I think I did
Probably
see,
gonna be here.
I think I did see Carl, because there's 11 people on the Zoom
Okay.
right now.
Yeah.
So if you expand the list, I'm sure you'll, because I remember seeing.
it's 5:20,
This and,
I don't expand on this.
January 24.
So
This
with
is what,
the,
520?
Dr. Roman Ramirez,
Yes.
on the line, are you going to speak to the, Board of Health budgets, or are we expecting Carla to? And you're on mute, sorry.
Is Christian gonna speak to it?
I think he's
Nobody's indicating.
he's
He's
muted. right
muted.
Yeah.
now. And I thought I did see Carla. I think she is in here somewhere. You just can't see the full list at the moment.
Hello, everybody. This is Mr. Roman from the Board of Health, Chairman of the Board of Health. I'm trying to see if Carla can present the Board of Health's approved budget. Carla?
No,
Maybe she's not there.
I don't, and maybe he got
We don't-
named this week.
Can we tell if she's there or not?
Can you click on the participants down on the bottom there? The
There we
11.
go, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, see Carla. I see Carla, and her hand is up.
Okay,
But it looks like she was muted and no video.
okay, I can share if, Carla, can you hear us? You need to come off mute.
Can you unmute her?
No,
Carla, unmute.
There she did.
Yeah. there she is. Hands raised, no video, but should have Carla.
Speak.
She might be having technical
Yeah.
difficulties.
Check in the Zoom chat, see if she's typed
So
something.
when we
in.
do, Dawn, when we do that summit, do they come in person or do they do Zoom?
Usually, yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm having technical difficulties with my laptop. So I'm double, I'm on my laptop and I'm on my phone.
Okay.
Where do you want to start?
I guess the first,
At the beginning, first line
yeah,
maybe.
I was gonna say, we're on, let's start with account 520, the Board of Health operating budget.
Okay,
And again, this is a PDF that was submitted, we don't have Excel, so we can't expand anything out.
Oh.
So we don't have
Yeah,
this either.
there's
right?
a 2%.
No, we should have this in the book.
Oh,
It should
It
be
is in the
there.
book.
Oh,
It
what
is in
color,
the-
what color?
Review.
Pink?
You're given a 2%.
Yeah,
Oh,
green.
green.
What's green?
Or, no,
Okay, sorry, we're just getting everybody on the same page.
it is the pink, it's the pink one.
Hot
do have
pink
it
or
displayed.
soft?
This one's pink, this one?
Must be done before the end of the fiscal year,
So it's gonna be Department
I got it.
520.
which is end of June.
Salaries.
So, I mean, the first thing I'm looking at this on is the line says salary, but it's on the expense worksheet. It's not on the salary worksheet, as is the longevity, the clothing allowance.
Those should be on the,
Those should be on the labor line, on the labor worksheet. Now,
okay, I'm sorry that you don't have that available to you. I do have them.
Yeah, but that's, so we're seeing in the expense worksheet, we're seeing those pieces, the longevity is there, it's level the last year, closing it is level the last year, and salary is increased by 4%.
can I ask about the clothing again? I mean, remember we had this with the assessor?
Yes,
So do they wear uniforms?
It's bargained in the collective bargaining
For
agreement.
certain.
So there are
certain-
clothing allowances for certain positions, yeah, but it's bargained. So if you go and you look under contracts and go to the clerical union, the supervisors union, the police, to water, highway, fire, you'll see what the amount is bargained for that union.
So just again, why would they need clothes? I mean, I get that it's in the bargaining, but is there, like the assessor girl told us that the reason she had them is she had to go out into the field sometimes and needed certain clothing.
Same thing,
It's
same
both
thing,
Board of
same thing.
Okay, just one clarification.
No, and I apologize, we haven't done introductions across the table.
That's all right.
50% of the finance committee in attendance today, this is their first time going through a budget process. And so there may be questions like this that come up just because it's the first time through. So please bear with us. It's education and we're getting, it's kind of, so that is all I need to say about that.
Okay.
When they say illegally dumped items, is that stuff that they picked up along the people have thrown out and?
That was put in a couple of years ago, the illegally dumped items, and I don't know how much of it was used to date. That was just an estimate to put in there.
And where do we take it? To the
We take
landfill?
it to the recycling center generally.
Well, it depends on what's being dumped, so
Right.
if it's tires or a couch or, a washing machine,
Right.
it all depends
Where
where
it's
you would,
going.
yeah, correct.
That was a transfer. It's things on the side of the road, televisions, you name it, I've seen. It's kind of like there are.
So if the Board of Health brings it to the recycling, they have to pay?
This line was for that. It could be that it's too big for Board of Health to pick up. They asked the highway department to bring it. And it was unfair of the highway department having to pay the recycling center. So this line was set up to charge against that piece.
So if we, all right, I just wanted to make this clear. So if the Board of Health has to have something picked up and it's picked up through the highway department, do we reimburse the highway department out of that money? Or is that just something that they do?
I think they bring it in and they, I don't know the exact.
If I may,
Yeah.
that is what the $3,000 is for.
Right, but how is that transfer done? Does the highway department bring it to the recycling center?
They do.
And
They do.
submit?
And then we submit,
Reimburse them?
yes.
Do you reimburse the highway department? They have to pay it or?
No, we pay for whatever the disposal is. If it's a mattress, it goes to Tough Stuff Recycling. So we estimate the mattress disposal and we will take that amount of money out of, instead of paying it from the revolving fund at the recycling center, we'll take out the mattresses that were on the side of the road. We will pay it out of the $3,000. I don't believe we have spent much money at all on this.
Well, it's not the money I'm curious about.
It's the process.
It's the
It's kind of like,
process that I'm curious about.
it's the
And
process.
we're
of
using
how does it-
highway department time and energy and gas and all that. That's what I
Did
want
they
to know.
get reimbursed? Carla?
Not to my knowledge. I have not asked them for mileage or hours. Before that line item was in, it was just a handshake between town departments that when things were disposed of on the road, the highway department would take it to the recycling center and we would dispose of it. But the recycling center is self-sufficient, and after COVID, there's been a lot of changes. So we cannot exorbitate that disposal cost.
So how much did they use?
So last year,
Yeah.
fiscal 24, they budgeted 3,000, they only used 1,081.
Thank you.
And what about-
Thank you.
I don't know about
Oh, we
that.
don't have
Let me see where we are
I
today.
think we're at 0. I don't think they've used anything.
She said
this
not
point.
much.
She did say not much, so
Yeah.
maybe that could come down a little? Or do you wait until the omnibus and then take it down?
Maybe it's a place we can look at.
Right.
I think we should look at it.
Carla, do you think that's feasible if needed to be brought down?
I think you could bring it down.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So drop it to 2,000. How much did they use last year?
Last year, they used 1,081.
1,081. So I drop it to $1,000. Make it 2,000.
Just do 15%. Do 50%. If they're over 1,000 now to this date.
No,
No,
that was all of
That was
last year.
all of last year.
That was all of last. I don't have this year's.
This year is, so far, it's 0. There's nothing been charged to that line.
Okay, what about 1,200? And then you're at 100 a month in case
Um,
something happens.
1,200?
What do you think?
Right.
I think that's
And
low.
and again.
You think it's
with,
low?
You don't want to cut anything right now?
It's the pay as you throw right now. It's kind of like, I don't know if
This has nothing to do
when
with
the snow
that.
melts. No, I know it has nothing to do with pay as you throw, unless people are dumping on the side of the road, and we're gonna pick more that has to go to this
Oh, I see what you're saying.
recycling
Oh,
center.
wouldn't they have been doing that by now?
But it's now
It's covered
by
with snow.
It's kind of like, so
Oh.
I don't have an
Got it.
answer right now.
For
It's
some-
kind of
Alright, we'll
like,
take it
I
out.
can see 1,000 for sure, but until we,
I just,
Got it.
let's just hold it until,
Yeah.
Okay. And no, it's
It's
one
a
we can
line.
look
Wait
at.
until March
Yeah, we'll
1st.
come back to it,
Okay.
yeah.
But that's we can like asterisk as something to look at
Yeah, I think
when,
so.
if we're nickel and diming,
Yeah.
Right, well, yeah,
so.
and travel, that's for who travels?
That is for myself, Veronica.
No, it's me.
oh, sorry,
Don't blame
It's
Veronica,
actually
that's
Mary
me,
Jane.
yeah. So,
Thank you.
is that to, is that to classes, training, or?
It's basically to go to the recycling center back and forth. I have to travel there at least twice when the recycling center is open, before they're open, after they're open. I also, the gate is very secured, so when the disposal, people need to come and dispose of things, I need to go there to unlock the gate. There's certain times that I have to go out. If people have discussed illegal dumping, I will go to the residents and take pictures so we can enforce the illegal dumping. There's just basic travel. It's really not out of the town. It's just basic travel in the town.
Okay.
And that's at that going rate for, you charge by the mileage, right, by the federal?
It is, the accountant sets the rates.
Okay.
And that is level funded year over year. So the remainder of this are level funded expenses.
Okay.
Now, it's not a lot of money. You had $77 in the communication, and to the end of December, through the end of December, it looks like $90 has been spent through half the year. Is that a line that needs to be adjusted, or is just absorbed in the rest of the expenses that because the total expenses
It's negative now.
What is it for? I mean, cell phone?
At the
at the
recycling.
recycling center.
Oh,
They don't have a phone in the recycling center, so they're,
okay, all right, well, that makes sense. They don't have phones at recycling center. Yeah, oh, cell phones. So that's their cell phone amount, $77?
Carla, do you want to answer that?
I would like to, thank you. So communication is not for the cell phone. It's for communication for certain things that we want to publicize to people. So I don't have the detail in front of me, but I'm thinking that was probably a public posting, possibly in the paper, where when we change our regulations under Mass General Law, there's certain regulations such as tobacco and septic and wells that we only need to publicize the meeting through just publicizing a public hearing, and then any other revisions have to be publicized in the paper. And we recently changed our tobacco regulations. So I'm thinking that that is the tobacco regulation that went into the local paper to alert the residents or anyone that reads the paper what the regulation changes were.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Are there any additional questions on the Board of Health operating budget?
No.
Anything from the Board of Selectmen?
It's level funded.
Level funded expenses
And that was the request.
Thank you. And next is the Neshoba Board of Health.
No, we just did that.
No. They have at least 3, maybe 4 budgets in Board of Health area. We outsource and we
It's the
contract
same
with
pink,
Neshoba.
is it, oh, it's still pink?
Yes, it's on the next sheet.
Okay.
Account 524.
Well, probably I'm gonna ask, I don't know if you have it with you. Is Neshoba Associate Board of Health 524 or is it 522?
So in last year's BVA, it was 522.
It's in the Neshoba Board of Health.
Yeah.
22 or 25.
I think one of these is landfill engineering.
Yeah,
and
that would
one
be
of them
24.
is,
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's going on
The
here.
show was 522.
Okay.
22?
So,
Yeah.
so
522.
If I may, Miss Chairman?
yes, go ahead, Carol. Yeah.
You have before you a draft, which was a proposed amount that I forecasted. It has since been improved. You have a 10% increase. I don't know why it's not in the package, but the total for the environmental nursing is $37,036.41. And the nursing has increased to $16,975.02, which brings a total to $54,100. Or 54,000, yes, 54. So it is a 10% increase. And I have a letter attached, which I would be more than happy to read if you would like, that lets you know why there is a 10% increase. This is a contract-driven contract that the town has with Neshoba.
Yeah, and is it, what year are we in on the contract?
It is a fiscal year contract, so next year you're looking at a 10% increase of $54,011.
For 2026?
For FY 2026, the total budget is going to be that 54,000 or
Increase.
54,000.
Increase.
No, not an increase.
The total
will change.
It's a 10% increase.
So it's going to be 10% on each line, so the 36 will go up a bit. Well,
10% total, not 10% each line. Well,
okay, you said 16.9. So Okay.
At least the Sherwood Board of Health, they're the ones that come out and do the inspections for restaurants and buildings and things like that.
Yes.
Yes.
And they review, the plans that come in for septic.
Hmm.
They hold the, the
flu clinic.
vaccination clinics and
Oh,
all at the senior center,
Mhm.
those sorts of things.
So it's
So
health.
they do the
do that for
inspections
the
of
town.
restaurants and other things also. Is that who does
Yeah.
the inspections?
It's inspections and health care.
Thank you.
Carla, can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Where do we find the contract for that? Is it online on the Board of Health page?
That's a very good question, Veronica, and I will work diligently to find that. But it seems to be a memorandum of understanding versus a contract.
That's fine, but just so there's a place that people that have questions can be referred
Absolutely.
to.
But does the memorandum of contract give you any information other than there is a contract?
Usually it has something in it, yeah.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If I may, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
we have Jim Gareffi from the Nashoba Associated Board of Health. That probably he can answer that question. If we can allow him to do that, that'll be great.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, it helps.
Who was it?
So is he on the line
Yeah.
now?
I'm here if you'd like. I'm happy to speak to that. My name's Jim Gareffi.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Yeah.
So to kind of answer the contract piece of it, it's always been kind of a challenge for us. Nashoba is a regional health district, and so much like your regional school district, the town at some point in time in the past voted to join to become a member. And so it's not a contract per se. So our kind of the contract, if you will, between the town and the agency is that service memo and the bylaws of the agency. That's kind of the governing relationship between the two.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So it is available. We can find it. Yeah, if we need to see it. Yeah.
Carla will try to find it for us and get it to us. It has been a lot of years that we've been affiliated with them, and their representatives to the town do a lot of work for us here. And they do come into town hall as well as the properties around town.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead.
Let me ask Jim regarding the memo of understanding. Is that something that is available online, or how can the public get information about the contract? That's what they're asking, and just want to give some clarity about that, please.
So I can email that to Carla tomorrow, the memorandum of understanding and the bylaws.
Perfect.
Great.
Great.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nope, no problem.
Wow.
That was easy.
Yeah. Yes.
You have the right person on the phone. And
Right.
you get the answer.
Yeah. Right question, right answer.
Are there any other questions with the Nashoba Board of Health?
I think my only other question is Carla said there was a letter that explained the increase. Did we get that?
I believe that Nelson has a copy of that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I do believe he has. And if he doesn't, I'd be more than happy to forward that to him tomorrow.
I'll take a look at it, Carla, and I'll circle back to you.
And it explains.
Carla, is that something that Jim can answer to the committee about the reason about the change of expense, or
that is an excellent idea. Jim, are you still on the phone?
I am.
Excellent.
So each year, Neshoba has a budget meeting, generally in December or January, and we sit down and look at the finances for the entire district. Like many of the communities in the area, and probably anybody who's working for a place that provides benefits, one of the biggest expenses for us, because we're primarily staff, is healthcare costs. So we have a very small healthcare group. We see increases of 10%. We got the number today. I don't even know what it is. So that's a big part of it. The state, we're part of the Public Health Excellence Grant as well, Neshoba, and the state has been hiring lots of folks to work at the state level and been spending money helping health departments, which has really driven up the cost to get staff. So to make sure that we keep the really well-trained staff that we have, I wanted to adjust salaries to make sure that they don't look for some other place to work. You guys have a wonderful health agent in town. He's with, I think he's pushing 20 years now. If you go out and look at health departments, people are aghast that we have staff that stay this long. So primarily benefits costs. There's a kind of a structural issue we have at Neshoba. The way we're funded is by the assessments that communities pay to be a member and fees that we generate from services in town. And the fees in the past have been a big part of the budget, and a lot of them are land use fees. One of the things we've seen, and I'm sure you've all seen it in town too, kind of a decrease in the amount of construction that's going on, and that's affected the fee side of it for us. So trying to make sure that we have the monies that we need to actually support the staff, make sure that in there for your communities. That's all that's contributed to the increase in the assessments this year.
Thank you. That was very informative.
Okay, I'll ask again, any additional questions?
Out of here.
Okay, thanks, Sam. Carol?
No, I don't have any additional questions.
Okay, thank you. Are there nothing in the room? If we get shaking, then we're good with that. And again, I guess Carlos is going to update it, get the account number, and then the newer figures. Nelson also.
Was that just 522 that we did?
That was,
No, it's 524.
That was
well,
524.
it says 524. I think it's 522.
Oh my goodness.
No, it says,
So we also have
oh, yeah,
Now we have,
you're right.
now we have the landfill, which is
Right, the landfill is 524.
correct.
My mistake.
Landfill. So we just
Engineering.
did 522, which was Neshoba Board of Health.
Yes,
Now we're gonna do 524, which is landfill,
right.
under the Neshoba Association Board of Health, right?
No, it's a
No.
it's its own separate. This is landfill engineering to close and monitor year to year the closed landfill.
So this is marked wrong on my sheet. Cause it says Neshoba Associated Board of Health Department.
That's the 522.
No, it's 524. Oh, it's really 522?
It's really
Right.
522.
Oh my, okay,
So
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. It's kind of like, so when we look at the BBA, we'll be looking at the wrong line.
How do we make that not be like, okay, never mind. I guess you guys know what. Wow.
It's, I don't know it off the top of my head. I
All right.
look at these
It's
and,
okay.
and compare and say this.
Yeah, so where's 524? Is there a 524?
There,
We were just on like,
No, we were on 522.
this one says 522.
Yeah.
This is not Neshoba Board of Health. This is landfill engineering. Okay. So the pages were a little messed up. So we're getting back on here.
And we're new and we're trying to learn. This is not helping. I have no idea.
This says 524, this is actually
The
522.
department will say landfill engineering. The account says 522. It is actually 524.
So the one that says 524, Neshoba Associated Board of Health is
That's actually
incorrect. It should say landfill.
No, just the number. The Neshoba should say 522, not 524.
Oh,
That one should say 522.
This is what.
This one should say 524.
So we just went through this.
No, it's kind of like, I
It's
think
okay.
you were looking at
No.
524.
It was
turning off.
misnumbered.
It was
I just fully
misnumbered.
turned
It was
off.
misnumbered, so.
Okay.
Sorry, we just.
Okay, sorry, I'm good.
Okay, so now,
Checked out.
and I believe this is professional services to, my understanding is to monitor the closed landfill for.
So
Yes.
And
that's,
is this a multi-year contract? And if it is, what year are we in of it?
Carla?
Yes. We are in the third year of our contract. I'm pulling it up right now, hopefully, with my computer. So this is a fixed price that you have. It's a 3-year contract, and it all depends on what needs to be done with DEP monitoring. And you are obligated with your closed landfill to follow the guidelines. So there is no flexibility in the contract.
Okay.
No, but it will be going out for bid again next year for FY27.
If you'd like us to, we can, but Weston and Sampson closed the landfill in 2000, and I don't believe that anyone would know the landfill better than them.
Okay.
Where they've been there for over 20 years. We can certainly do it. Just trying to
I just didn't know with a contract whether you're required to go out to bid again.
It is an engineering service, and that's one of the few services that you could procure without actually going out to bid.
Okay.
Thanks, Nelson.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Understand?
So this is for a landfill that we had to close.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where is it located?
At the recycling center.
Is it Greenville Road?
Turnpike Road.
Okay.
Turnpike Road, right?
It's Greenville Road.
Greenville Road.
That's where the recycling center is, right?
Right. It's
Oh,
it's a little.
it's where the old dump was?
It's the old dump.
Well, it is. It's
It's
same
the
road.
cap dump, and the state requires that it be monitored.
Oh.
And
not the old
Weston and
dump,
Sampson is who
No.
closed it, and they've held the contract.
That was the
I
last
get
They
it.
do all the monitoring and checking for leaks and all
Right,
that
right.
good stuff.
DEP state mandated.
Right.
Wonder. Okay. Don't see any additional questions in the room. Anything on the phone?
Carla, is that 5% a year for the 3 years?
It is not. It goes down. There's some years that we have to test annually, and there's the Board of Health sent in 3 years ago a request because the methane and the gases in the water have come out so clean. We appealed to the board, the state board, to test semi-annually. So we're now testing every 18 months. So that's why it has gone down. In 2008, it was approximately $45,000 that you were paying, and as everything gets cleaner, you're paying less.
I see. Well, that's good then.
So in fiscal 24, we only spent 71% of the budget. Are we going to be doing roughly the same in 25, or is that expenditure going up?
I cannot answer that. I'd have to talk to the accountant about that.
Okay.
We have a contract. I don't know why it wasn't fulfilled 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. Interesting. I guess we need to follow up on that because I'm not seeing any.
It's possible that they had some additional testing that they thought they might have needed to do that they didn't need to do.
Okay.
And do you know the payment schedule on the contract? By any chance, is it quarterly, annually? I'm just looking at, so far, I'm looking at that line, and we have not expended any money from that line to date.
No, we have not spent a lot of money this year, but it will be coming.
In the spring, yeah, okay, that's fine, just kind of, that's,
We have fall monitoring reports and we have spring monetary reports.
okay. Looking at, I guess the other, I don't see anything else in.
Oh, there's landfill, 430,
Yeah, that's.
and I wanted to know about 433.
That's the next one.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, I didn't scroll down, so we're gonna put them place in the video.
Prepare for fireworks.
The landfill operation is level funded year over year. No changes between FY 25 and 26.
About 433. So I guess my question, I do have a question here though. What does the revolving fund at the landfill pay for?
It pays for all the disposal of all the recycling. It pays for the payroll. And I would think that that is it for now. You're looking at the landfill budget. So I think that your question is that you're looking at energy and repair and professional services, which is the heat and the electricity.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And that doesn't get covered by revolving fund?
It does not.
So there are expenses in running the, the recycling center out there.
There's also, I'd like to point out that grounds maintenance is also mandated that the recycling center landfill is mowed, which comes out of that account, which is approximately $5,500 every 18 months. It is mandated that we mow the landfill. So that comes out of the building and grounds. I've tried to space it out so it's not $5,500 every year. So that's why you only see $3,050. There also has to be a phone at the pumps at the landfill, which is where you see the communication. And then we also talked about the electricity and the heat.
What are the professional services then?
The professional services, 83. That is the landfill mowing.
Oh,
That is the
I
landfill.
that was the
So
30.
I'm sorry, my laptop is very small. So when you look at building and grounds maintenance, there's also things that need to be done there besides the mowing. And that's where you can see that we really don't spend a lot of money there. But we do need some expenses there. If the gate that is around the landfill needs to be repaired, we would take that money out of there. Hopefully we don't need that every year, but in my 17 years, there's been 3 instances where I'm pretty sure it was a bear that was getting into the recycling center landfill, and we certainly don't want that, because if they puncture the holes in the landfill, there was also instances where snowmobiles were coming up, so we had to spend a great deal of amount of money putting cement barriers over by Brooks Mason Crossing because they were accessing the landfill through there. So it's not something that we anticipate, but it is needed sometimes.
So is that something that you hire outside help, or is it something that facilities or cemetery and parks or highway or somebody does?
Typically not, as we're self-sufficient. We don't have any access to those for that particular incident. So we would have to hire an outside contractor to help us.
Okay. Do you have the 24 BVA?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have one out there. It's something looking at the BBA. Looks like we spent $5,710 on repair and maintenance on equipment, and there was nothing
24, they
in
only
that
spent
budget.
35% of the budget.
So far.
No, for fiscal year 24.
I'm just concerned that, you know, we spent that amount of money on a line that had nothing on it.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Okay, the repair and maintenance equipment line, there's nothing,
Budgeted.
nothing allocated to it, nothing planned. And in FY 25, we put $5,710 into that account. We paid it out of that account. And there was no money to start. So
I think at first glance, I'm thinking maybe it was just misplaced. It should be probably in probably professional service.
I would
Correct.
That would be my guess.
That would be my guess.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So we can have it reclassed out.
Right. Yeah, that's all.
So can we remove that line for repair and maintain equipment if there's nothing budgeted there?
Well,
that's something we need to, I mean, if there is a point where they have equipment, like they've got the lift equipment up there, if that needs to be repaired.
But I'm just saying that if
right.
you aren't gonna budget anything to the line,
Take
why
line
have
out so
the
we don't-
line?
So,
Yeah.
so it's not applied against.
if I may,
Yeah.
that is an emergency. You're right, Veronica. We don't know. We've been very fortunate that we haven't had to use that, but you never know. And I would hate to have to come back to the town in June and say, I need X amount of dollars because we didn't budget for this.
But the thing is, you didn't budget for it, and you've spent $5,710.
No, I'm at 55.95% of my budget. It's just misallocated.
If you're looking at the overall.
I am looking at the overall.
Right, so the overall is where I'd expect it. It's just that if I'm doing lines and comparing and looking, and that's what we do. We look at the budget and make sure we're trying to get the right money in the right place on the right line.
Right.
And that's all that one looked like to me. But it's also difficult. You charge the line and it says zero. It doesn't.
We will reallocate that. I'm very sorry for that.
No, that happens. It's kind of like this is not the only one of these that has come up. I just take the opportunity.
Of course.
All right, so can we address, are we done with that one?
I think we're set. Anybody have any other questions on account 430, the landfill operations? None being heard, we can move to. Do we want to finish out, or do you have a question on?
I want to talk about 433, which is curbside removal.
Okay, 433 is not here, right?
It's not here, but it's relevant. It's part of this, and you know, we've seen the proposals, but nothing has been budgeted. So I guess the question is, what is the ask in that area?
So is the expectation that Board of Health will be submitting for 433, the curbside pickup?
I would hope so. And then we have to determine whether or not it's viable for the town budget.
If I may, Ms. Chairman?
Yep, go ahead.
Christian, are you there? Would you like to speak about that for a
I
moment?
am here.
Thank you.
So the Board of Health on its last meeting on Tuesday, we have approved a trash contract that Carla had submitted to town council to verify the contract. And at this time, the Board of Health approved the curbside trash contract, which we would exclude the municipal trash, and that's how we approve. And we recommended a trash contract that at some point the Board of Selectmen will be receiving once we get the okay from legal counsel about that.
So do you have a draft number?
So from what we have, let me look for the numbers of that contract. Give me one moment.
I think Nelson has them.
Yeah, I have the paper one, so let me actually get that from my office. Give me 2 seconds.
So Veronica, are we talking as well as trash and recyclable, or are we just talking about recyclables?
No, we're talking about trash pickup. Shaw's. Yeah.
Yeah, because Glenn, GW Shaw had submitted a revised proposal for the base contract, which was there's a base fee, and then he would charge us for the actual tonnage that he would pick up, whether it's trash or recycling. So,
okay.
I don't have I didn't scan it because it was just given to me as a paper copy, but I can.
I think I have them here.
So if I may, Mr. Chairman, and for Veronica Kels, I'm going to read it as it is. I'm not too expert on most of the language about it, but I can read what we have approved. It says here, annual MSW and recycling curbside collection fee for $478,980. This is for year one of fiscal year 2025. MSW tip fee per ton, $105. Recycling tip fee per ton, $125. On the contract that we have, he had included the recycling center, which should be separated, and the municipal contract, which should be separated too. That is for 2025 contract that the Board of Health approved unanimously. For fiscal year 2026, the annual MSW and recycling curbside collection fee will be $493,350. The MSW tip fee per ton, $110. Recycling tip fee per ton, $130. And for year three, which is 2027, on the first item, The annual MSW and recycling curbside collection fee will be $508,200. The MS tip fee per ton, $118, and the recycling tip fee per ton, $135.
Is that dollars or thousand?
One, I see it here, $135, but the annual recycling curbside collection is $508,200 in year 2027.
So, but that only includes them running the truck. It doesn't include their charges for getting rid of the trash, which is the tip fees.
Correct.
So you approved a contract that has a blank check for tip fees. Is that correct? We know the cost per ton, but we don't know the overall cost of what it could cost us. So as opposed to choosing the all-in contract, which would have included the tipping component. So I guess my question is, why did you choose that one versus the other when we have an open-ended and therefore a difficult situation in determining how much that's going to cost? I mean, we're going to have to, okay, so if we go with what you guys have approved, our purple bags are on track to pay just what it costs to run the trucks. We will need additional funding to get rid of the trash off the trucks, and we'll be responsible for paying Shaw for that, and we'll be billed probably, you know, monthly or quarterly, however they do it. But we have no way of knowing what that amount is.
Let me read through the contract because
is there a maximum in there? The most that you will ever be charged for cumulative tipping fees?
So it says here under description of services, for example, it says this fixed annual fee payable monthly for the cost of the MSW and recyclables curbside collection trucking costs, regardless of tonnage collected or number of stops made. Per ton tip fee for MSW disposals, this per ton tip fee will be paid for all actual amounts of the MSW tonnage disposal by the hauler. And per ton tip fee for recyclables disposable, this per ton tip fee will be paid for all actual amounts of recycling tonnage picked up and disposed by the hauler.
So we don't know what the tonnage is what I'm saying. So that part of the contract is an unknown.
Right.
Right, except he said that it's gone down.
Able to, sorry,
I'm sorry.
Has Shaw been able to determine and calculate what their average tonnage is that they're already dropping?
They say it's going down, but they are also, the town pays for every person, every residence in the town.
Right.
And we have about 10% of the town, maybe a little more,
Usually, yeah.
that is purchasing their own. So it makes sense that the tonnage has gone down because they don't calculate in the tonnage those who are privately contracted. So it's hard to say. It's an unknown, which makes budgeting difficult. We can take a guess at it. One option is, because if we're doing purple bags next year, we have to also charge a fee because we don't have another $500,000 to put towards this. So every household will need to be charged a fee for trash pickup. Maybe it would be better to go with the all-in contract, which was what, $780 or so? And which, if you work that out, it comes out to about $22 per month per family, and cancel well, anyway. It's something to consider. And so with an unknown, we are going to have to err on the high side when we charge fees to the town. is what I'm saying, because it's an unknown. And then if we have, I mean, maybe we can set up a revolving account for those fees or some way so that if we overpay this year for the tipping, if we collect from the town, thereby more than the tipping fees,
If there's a balance year
we
over
can
year.
carry it to next year and
For that
charge
purpose.
less for, a monthly fee per family. It's a problem,
So would the fee be for all the residents, whether they pay or not?
whether they contract or not. Yeah.
So if they have their own contractor, they would still have to pay the town fee?
Correct.
Oh, that won't go over well.
So if I may, Mr. Chairman and Ms. Selectwoman, Veronica Cal,
Yes.
just for the record, and I think I've spoken with my my peer board members, and I think that we should come up with a solution other than imposing more money paid to our constituents, because as it was mentioned, the population in Townsend has lowered, and I don't think adding another layer of fee or payment that needs to be paid. I think something should be done budget wise, but as of now, we are not in agreement on adding another fee. And even regardless if you use the curbside trash or not. So that is our position as the Board of Health, but we are not in agreement. And I think we can negotiate other things, but we are opposed adding a fee to the families of this town.
I can appreciate that, and it would be lovely if we didn't have to, but I guess my suggestion is, how do we fund it?
Yeah. So what do you suggest? How do we fund the rest of the money?
Okay, I'm sorry, there's other people waiting on the line.
Sorry.
This is a big issue, and it can go on for a long time.
And I think that if I may, we can certainly have a joint meeting and talk about other options together as with the Board of Selectmen and with the Board of Health. But those are the only comments that I'm going to make regarding the trash contract. And I'm open to come to any meeting and brainstorm and talk and as part of the Board of Health to talk about more options about the contract.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. So we have at least some rounding numbers. It's kind of like with as you said, it's a fixed number for the pickup, but unknown on the dumping.
And I've sort of done some analysis. I don't want to. If we want to keep discussing it, that's fine with me. But if we want to have a bigger meeting just devoted to this, I've done some analysis on assuming what the tonnage is for the trash and the recycling, and at some point, it makes more sense to do the all-in option versus the base fee and paying for the tonnage. But I've already done some analysis, and I'm happy to share that when the time comes.
Yeah.
Excuse me, does it include just everyone getting their own trash and just the town being out of it completely?
No, I mean, that option is just where there's no contract at all at that point.
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm saying. Is that
no, my analysis was the all-in option versus the option where you pay a base fee and then you pay for the tonnage. So that was the analysis I was trying to do, to sort of compare, which option might make more sense. But the option that you're mentioning is sort of the nuclear option.
well, I mean, maybe if you're gonna be paying for the purple bags and you're getting a fee on top, why not just let us get our own guy?
Which is why I think we should do the all-in. But let's go to cemetery and parks building and then come back.
Sorry,
and
yeah,
talk.
it's kind of like, but there is actually one more in the packet that was submitted by Board of Health. It is animal inspection. Account number 246. Total funded year over year, $600.
I think it has to be raised to at least 1,200. You can't get anybody to do it for the 600, and there's a yearly report required by the state. Hasn't been done for 9 years.
It's the barn fund.
So I'm asking you to change that to 1,200 a year, so they have the possibility of getting someone in the position to do the work.
What do they do? Is it different than an animal control person?
It
Yes.
inspects the barn. Yes, it is.
If they'd like take account of all the farm animals in the town.
And one cow constitutes a herd. It's kind of like, my first annual town report, I read that and it stuck with me. And that was in 1983.
So it's barn animals like sheep, pigs, cows, and horses.
Yeah, things like that.
Chicken?
Right.
Yeah.
If I may?
It's like
Yeah,
that.
yes,
Yeah, Carla?
Yeah.
Yes, I'd like to speak about this line item. I don't know why it's under the Board of Health, to be honest with you. The town clerk has stated that there is a mandated from the Department of Agriculture that a barn book has to be made every year of all the animals that are in town. And we have not had a barn inspector since 2016. And the reason why you don't have that is because you're paying them $600 a year. So I highly recommend that you up that amount and you get someone that will do this, because you don't want the Department of Agriculture knocking on your door asking why you haven't provided this in almost 10 years.
Carla, you just mentioned it on the video.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
They're gonna come knocking at our door tomorrow.
I've been talking about this for years. I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to do.
Interestingly enough, actually the budget book has it at 1,200, but I think even that is insufficient.
I'm going to agree with that. I was just.
I'm gonna reach out to some local cities
Right.
and towns to see what
I think that's a good
because
idea.
I know Ashby and Pepperell do have a animal inspector, but I'll need to find out how much their stipend is. It's probably not a ton, to tell you the truth, but it's certainly more than 600 or even 1,200.
Yeah.
Well, if somebody from here won't do it, then maybe they will take on our town. One of
We've
them.
tried that. We've tried going regional. We've tried getting other animal inspectors, because it's a stipend that you would think that you would get 3 or 4 people that would do one town, and it's just not marketable at that price.
Yeah,
So what do you do? To go to every barn and check the animals? That's the job?
Yeah, you
Every
kind of
single one. And then if there is something unsafe where someone's reported that they don't feel that the storage is adequate or the animals aren't being fed, it's the animal inspector. It's not the animal control officer. It's a
Right.
position.
It's
And
different.
doesn't the animal inspector do things related to rabies as well?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And you
And-
might have the same person do it, but not for that amount of money.
Right. So right now it is budgeted at 1,200.
Right.
So
It is.
It's been budgeted at 1,200. Even in fiscal year 21, it was budgeted at 1,200.
Oh, I'm looking at my summary sheet that I signed on January 2nd that says 600.
I know that
does.
that says that, but if you look at the BVA,
Can you
it's
see the
1,200.
screen? I'm highlighting the
Yeah.
animal inspector, and it's sitting at, it's been $1,200. At least, and the one I'm looking at is fiscal year 25, so it's currently at 1,200.
So can we ask Nelson to check that out and see if that's appropriate? And if not, then
Right.
it's still peanuts in the whole scheme of things, but to keep us legal, we may need to put a
We
few
need to
more
do it,
nuts in
right.
there.
But look at it, because there was something to do with rabies, and that's why it might have been a new requirement by the state.
It was.
And that's what, we did have an animal inspector, but that's what made them say,
Not do
not
it.
doing it anymore. So Yeah,
I'll-
talk to the other towns.
Yeah, I'll reach out to a few
Thank
neighboring
you.
towns.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, just one last little piece. I don't want to come back to, I want to try to move on to the next department on the list. Any final questions anybody can think of for Board of Health? Before we thank them and have them move on. Okay. Nothing being heard, Board of Health, I think we're good. We have the questions. And, couple of updates to do. And we'll work obviously on like the curbside pickup for the future. We're all set.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
You can hang up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to the select board.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christian. Thank you, Carla.
You're welcome.
Okay, next we have building department.
What is the code? It's not on.
Oh my God.
Two 41.
It's not on
241. I think it's 241.
It was 240.
I have the expense worksheet, but not the other one.
What color is
Yeah,
that color?
building inspection, 241.
Bob, are you online right now?
I am online and ready to go. Let's go.
I like that enthusiasm.
Okay. See if I.
It's the blue one, but I'm not sure which sheet it is.
Just been seeing the salary
So
thing.
you have assessing. Yeah, but then and then after that, there's the blank page.
Okay, we're just getting organized.
Dawn, what color tab is this?
Yeah,
Blue. It's blue near
On the front.
Do they have a different?
Oh, they could have different.
We have
Building
one.
Board of Health in Neshoba.
Try blue.
The second tab, but you gotta go dig into it a little bit more, I think. It's
Yeah.
not the front of it, it's,
Yeah, it's not the front, that's the assessor. There's a manila separator. Then zoning board of appeals.
I found it.
Okay, near the back side of that.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
is it after land use?
After Townsend. Conservation.
Mine's right at the front.
It's after fire. That makes
Yeah.
a difference.
No, I'm talking about within the blue
Oh,
thing
Mine is
itself.
right at the front.
Yeah, mine too.
no, there's a setup.
Theirs is different.
Yeah.
Well, there's the first thing in this section in the blue is assessing, account number 141.
Oh, then that's not ours.
And then there's separator, and then there's one that doesn't have a label on
Okay,
it.
so it's
That
right
looks
after
like it. Look at the
assessing.
next
There was
one.
no label, but
Look
look
at
at the
the
second
second.
page. That would be.
And does it say building on top? I think that's
Second
it.
page,
Right. It'll say it up here.
Apartment, oh, building, okay.
So this is assessing. Building. Okay, this is it.
This is it?
This is, yeah, it doesn't say department up here, but it does here. So it's here. Okay, sorry, we're all caught up. The page we printed out didn't have the department at the top. We said the account.
241?
241 is the account number. Yeah.
So that, department head, that's
so you're looking at the labor, are we starting in the details on the labor sheet?
Yeah.
Personnel services.
Yeah.
This one, okay.
They're too tiny for you?
I'll manage.
So how many hours a week is this?
Let's see, I believe Bob is,
Position.
no, he's here 2 days in person. I think it's roughly 20-ish, around 20 hours, I believe. Bob, are you roughly about 21, 22 hours? Is that if I remember correctly?
I think it was like 23 or 24, my contract.
Yeah.
Per week.
Yep.
And does 4 other towns? 3 other towns?
Is it, Bob, you're in Pepperell and Groton?
Yep.
Okay.
Is that it? No more? No more towns? Do you have any other towns besides Pepperell and Groton?
There are other towns.
That you work at?
Yes, I am part-time in a couple small towns in New Hampshire. That happen after hours.
Not unusual. Our building inspector who was full-time did the same.
Okay, we starting in the details with the,
Where are the details?
Is this his first year?
So what was 225 for the salary?
Like if you look at that.
It's not filled in?
okay, so these salaries come from the detail page.
Yeah, but there's nothing for FY 25.
Oh.
So there's no salaries then?
There were salaries in FY 25. The detail sheet has them, they weren't brought forward to the front summary page.
Oh,
They're listed on the bottom.
I see it.
Let's see if I,
I get it. I see.
That contract.
Yeah.
Is he union?
No, I think he's personal services.
Well, he's got clothing allowance and special stipend by contract?
I don't know because I was not a selectman last year.
I'm gonna.
What's a quote? Oh, another one of those clothing things.
Look it up.
mm-hmm. But yeah, then as they're going, they're
What's
looking
a
up
special
the,
stipend?
I do not
Bob, what's your
know.
special
I just
stipend
asked.
for?
My what? I'm sorry.
Special stipend.
That is there is a $500 allowance for the union contract that I'm aware of. A month.
So he's union contract.
Oh, so
Oh, that's right. They
so
hired
he
him.
is in the
Oh.
building inspector when it was full-time was in the
he
supervisor's
was gonna
union.
be, yeah, he was gonna be
Oh.
contracted and then when
Oh, did the union complain? Okay.
yeah, that was a last minute change last year, now that
A last minute change.
to make him an
Okay.
employee, yeah.
Yeah,
Instead of contract.
because I think originally he did sign a contract.
Mhm.
And after that, I don't know the history behind it.
Right.
So now it's not contract, he's an employee?
Yeah.
He's
an
yes,
employee,
and
it would be the
A union contract.
Yeah.
a union position. Yes.
With a union contract though? He's got a union contract.
Well, he's covered under the collective bargaining agreement for the supervisors union.
But originally he wasn't, correct?
Initially, before the final employment offer was made.
Oh, before the final
Right,
offer.
there was negotiations going
Got
on,
it, I understand.
and the final,
Okay, so nothing you can do. All right, what's next?
I guess the question is other HAS reimbursement is the first time I've seen that. Can you tell me what that is?
It says contract, so it must be negotiated.
I believe it should say HSA. So, and I'm not even, to be honest with you, I'm not sure. If you want the $250, you're welcome to have it.
No,
We can't take it if it's a union thing.
Right.
It says contract.
Is it maybe FSA?
So, and then, so
A
that
flexible
means that it has
spending?
to be
Well,
reviewed.
I think it's a flexible spending reimbursement. I'm not sure why it's in the contract, but I have been told it's in the contract. I was not privy to the negotiation of the contract.
Right.
Oh.
Okay, no, he's saying he wasn't part of the supervisor's union contract with the town. I believe that's what
He's
he's
saying
saying.
he wasn't
not
involved.
his
He
contract.
just
So-
came in under that
Okay,
agreement.
so we just,
Yeah.
I think if we have a.
You, if you don't mind, I think all of you are new, so I think I should enlighten you on how this went down. So that way we're all clear.
Yeah.
Townsend was advertising in 2023 for a building commissioner for approximately 6 or 8 months, at least. I pursued the previous town administrator with a deal that I would go on a part-time basis. I believe if you go back and look at the previous budgets for the years of fiscal year 24 and 23, you're going to see amounts way greater than the base wages. What part of the deal? Finally, Eric and I had made a deal that was the number, and I think it was a $15,000, a $20,000, a $25,000 savings for the town to go to a part-time relationship. We did contract in January of 24 for we did a 6-month, I believe, interim contract to make sure everything worked for everybody. I provided insurance as a contractor for my work, and then after in June, for some reason he wanted to go. I think he didn't want to do the shopping it out, etc. So it ended up being a union position on a payroll.
Yeah.
So I believe I can show you emails from 2.5 years ago where I've been chasing Townsend down.
Yeah. No, I think we're good. We just wrapping our head around it because it's the first time you've been in last year.
No, and I understand that. But I just want you to understand that I am available 24/7 to the town. I think Nelson will verify and vouch that every time he calls me, I pick up my phone. Doesn't matter whether I'm working, quote unquote, for Townsend or not. So, that was, you basically get 40 hours of service. My phone is strapped to my side. And, as far as the inspections go, we do the inspections and handle the issues of the town promptly.
Okay, can I say something? I'm looking at the supervisor's contract. The clothing allowance should be $850 as opposed to $800.
Is that for part-time?
That is for the building commissioner.
Okay.
It's Article 19 in here. He should have a cell phone. Do you have a cell phone, Robert?
Town cell phone?
No, I don't. We got rid of all of those line items with my contract. You guys have a cell phone that you provide to me. The phone that I am speaking on right now is a Townsend phone.
Okay. If you use a personal vehicle for town business, you get $500 per month, and that is for the building commissioner, so that's what the 6,000 is.
Stipend, auto.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what that is. I'm looking for the HSA thing, or whatever it is.
I think it
So-
might be FSA.
Yeah, because if you look at the person below, they have an other, and in the line there, it says FSA reimbursed per contract. And it's the same amount. If you look at the next
Yeah.
person down.
Yeah, I see. I'm just looking at it
So
in the
Janet?
contract.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I'm not seeing it in this contract. She's in a different union.
Mhm.
oh, okay.
So let me look at that one.
I mean, we can take it out and I can revisit it this weekend, and if it's there, I'll provide it to Nelson and we'll add it back in. It's a $250 item, but you already made me $50 on the clothing, and I appreciate that.
Well, I think let's just hold it where it is and we'll figure it out. And if we need to take it out, we know that you're okay with
Yep.
that. But if it's
I
in the
am
contract,
perfectly fine.
if it's in the contract, we have to keep it in the contract. So if it's in the collective bargaining agreement, so.
Yep. I wouldn't agree with that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah, thanks. It was
Yeah, it looks like that.
quite a bit. To get started. I'm gonna jump down to Janet.
Yep.
And now is she at the top of a scale or something? I'm seeing that in column G, you said 4%, but the calculation's 2.02% on the increase.
I believe the 4% is what the contract is this year.
Okay.
So maybe I erred in my addition.
Hmm.
So what should that number be?
I have 41,970.
41,970. Instead of 41,170?
Yeah, so an additional $800.
So which we can make that? We have the contract or no?
It's pretty much the
We'll see what he says.
the union
about that.
contract would be. PVA, she was, what's that? 41,137. Oh, so that's higher than, okay. That's not even, this says 43.55 under 2025.
I think that's because it's including the longevity.
Yeah.
And the FSA.
No, I'm looking at the base.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No. So it's not 40?
Do you have it up there?
355,
Okay,
it's
so
43.55, it's 43,550?
Okay, so in 2025, you see her base wage is 40,355.
Correct.
If I jump over to the BVA, the support staff line for wages on 137. That should not include anything other than that. That's just strictly wages. The stipends and longevity and all that are down on the additional lines.
Oh, that's an error.
That's what it looks like. Something to check.
I will tell you that the FSA is spelled out in the clerical contract. It is non-existent in the supervisors.
The four,
Does that take the 250 off the commissioner?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So he gets 80 and he loses 250.
He gets 50.
50
and he loses 250.
Yeah, the net is minus 200.
Okay.
So I'm doing Janet's, salary or, her annual, pay.
Mhm.
It is 43.55. So I'm not sure why.
For FY 25?
Yeah, I'm not sure why the BVA is showing the
Ah.
41,
Okay.
137.
Okay, so you have actual hourly rates.
Yeah, I do. Yep. This is the secret report.
Yeah.
So if it,
That's fine. Okay.
oh, the secret, we have a second set of books, is that what you're telling us?
Off the books.
No,
So,
this is all the payroll,
Do
so I
not
have.
say
all-
that.
He's doing another work.
No, this is just the payroll report, so I have everyone's rates, so I can.
so this is very wrong. It's off by $3,000.
No,
No, the
40,355 is the correct
is
number.
correct.
Yeah.
The BVA is incorrect. The number in the BVA.
Yeah, which I'm not sure why that is.
Oh, I was gonna ask that.
So the 41, 170, is, indeed the correct amount. You know, taking into account 4%.
Is it?
Let me just quickly do the math before I,
You're doing 2% on the 40,355?
oh wait, no, actually, it's off too.
It's 2%. I have 2%.
Yeah, so,
But-
so we need it to be 4% to be.
Right.
So it's actually.
But he said
40.
he thought maybe
Yeah.
we should confirm that it's 4% before we calculate.
No,
Oh,
it
it
is.
is.
She,
Oh, it is.
she is in a clerical union.
Oh,
so-
you just looked?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, yeah, I know she's in
Oh,
a
you know,
clerical
okay.
union, yeah.
So 41,970 is the number,
Yeah.
rounding up because,
No.
it's
Yeah.
kind of like,
So do you make it 42? Is that what you do?
No, no, no,
no,
no,
no.
it's the exact
The
amount.
actual number is
Yeah.
$41,969.20. You don't go to dollars
I
and
get it.
cents in the
99,
accounting.
okay,
We
70.
round it up to whole dollars.
All right.
It's kind of,
So the longevity is still the same,
Oh,
and then the
this
FSA
is,
for 250.
so what does adding 10,000 received from water department for inspections, not inspection on budget, what's that mean? Is that under Janet or is that under the
no,
next
that's the
person?
next person. Okay, so Janet, and increase the new line of the FSA number. Okay. So now we're on.
No, I'm here.
Okay, good.
So if we're going to the next, is there another person? Because this is blank.
Right, so the alternate inspector position.
Is there a person in there?
I would
Yes.
say more than one.
There is a person that is an alternate inspector.
Okay, do we know his or her name?
I used to know the name.
Dana
of the
Barnes.
Dana Barnes?
Dana Barnes.
Oh.
Yep, Barnes. Dana Barnes.
Okay, so now we have a person. This is the one that we had the problem with earlier this year. With the fees, remember? And we had to adjust them. It was $5,000 and then we adjusted it down.
Oh, at the
Yeah,
special
at the
town meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
Correct, yeah, and, Bob can speak to why, sort of why we needed an increase in that, position.
Yeah. So this was not my deal. This is the fallout of a deal made previously. But apparently, when the water treatment plant was built, in lieu of a building permit fee, there was a deal made for 2 equal payments to the building department for services of the building department in the amount of $10,000 for 2 years. So we received the first one. Unfortunately, it wasn't thought through thoroughly, and it has to go into the general fund. At town meeting last week, there was a $5,000 movement of money that was voted on, that was cut down to $2,500. That was part of the initial $10,000. So we have another $10,000 coming this year from the water department, earmarked for the building department inspections. And that is where that money is coming from for the alternate.
But that's not what we were told. Remember the?
No, we didn't have that piece of it. We thought we were doing it that we thought it was gonna be a stipend for the alternate inspector for the remainder of the year, and we estimated with the balance in the account plus the additional funding that it would cover the expense for the year. If not, would revisit it in a special town article.
So we had thoughts.
We didn't have
premise. Our premise wasn't right.
But again, the question would be, is there inspection work that is actually going on in a completed facility?
No, there isn't.
There isn't.
It was already completed, before the plant was up and running.
Right.
The work was being completed.
Right.
So instead of a permit fee, the water department is paying Dana's salary? Is that what we're saying?
Yes, essentially.
That, in a
Okay,
nutshell, yeah.
I'm just trying to figure it out.
And now, if I may, the 14,050 is not needed. Like, I need about $10,000. So you wanted to cut that by $4,250, I'll be happy to do that, and I have no issue with that.
Because his weekly stipend is like $200, is it? $250?
He works every Wednesday, right? He does Wednesday. I do Tuesday and Thursday inspections. He does Wednesday inspections for about 4 hours at about $50 an hour, give or take.
$200. That's
So
what he
he's
told
about
me.
$10,000 a year.
Yeah, so it's 200 a week, so that comes to the 10,400.
Right.
So you're
exactly.
saying that at the end of the day, you're willing to chip in 4,000 plus or minus to make the budget work.
Yes, at the end of the day, you give me 10, you can keep 4.
Gotcha. Okay, I see.
And then then it would, in future years, pretty much be the same 10 for the 200 a week to
Now,
cover.
the future years, I'll work out. I'm not looking to burden the town with an extra $10,000, to be quite honest with you, out of the town's pocket. The reason we did this was because it was a new system that we had just put in place to make sure it was working. Eric had some extra money coming to the water department. We wanted to make sure the town was serviced properly. It is being serviced properly. And, I'll work out what we need to work out next year.
Fair enough. The reason we are looking to prepare a multi-year budget, so knowing that helps us with FY27 and then the FY28. The years before the FY26.
That's not good.
No, we're
Okay,
not, but
I'm happy to look at that and give you numbers if you'd like.
Right.
Okay, that's good.
So,
Is that it?
No, there's expenses.
Yeah.
right, now there's expenses. So we start
So what,
jumping over there. I don't know if you're with me in looking at, as we jump from spreadsheet to spreadsheet. But
No problem, I have mine.
Okay,
622% difference?
right,
Oh,
the information I'm seeing there, it looks like they're buying, it says shared copier.
for the new one we're buying?
No, this is,
They have one in there.
Oh, I can see, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a new one.
I wouldn't say it's new, but there's still, a cost associated with it. There's a monthly lease.
Yeah.
So it includes the lease of 260. Okay, I get it.
Yeah. And estimated copies at 50 a month. Is this a standard size copier or are we doing drawing size?
Drawing size is huge.
No, it's a standard size copier. It's just used by several of the departments downtown. It's like a shared copier. So,
okay.
The town is paying for it one way or the other, so we're just gonna put it in my budget.
But I thought we just did a new copier. We did 2 of them, one up here and one downstairs.
One up here.
I thought it was this one.
Yeah, this one.
Well,
Oh, no, we haven't put it in yet.
No, but we're
But
getting
we
it.
are.
Correct. But that's not the one that he's referring
No,
to.
that one's in his own office.
Correct, yeah, it's in the building inspections office, so, the Board of Health probably uses that
Right.
same machine as well.
Right.
As well as, the contractors who come in to print stuff.
So why was it 600 last year and 4,300? I see your breakdown for how you got the extra funding,
Is it a new one?
but why is there a difference?
I think, ARPA money took care of it in the last couple years, right? Yeah.
Can we do this from free cash?
I suppose, but it's an ongoing expense though, so it really does belong in the operating budget. Yeah, in the past couple of years, it was, we gave the building department some ARPA money.
Right,
And that's what they
that
paid
was
for.
because of the permitting, the online permitting.
Yeah, and we also lumped the copier stuff.
Yeah, that it was supposed to. We were supposed to get, different places in town hall where you could do it, not necessarily
kiosk.
anyway, but
Right,
more
here, we're supposed to,
out.
yeah.
Um,
kiosk.
Program. Yeah, it looks like it.
And what are the professional
Is that-
services?
well, what's the permit link payment for services? The 15K.
So that is our permitting software, our online permitting software. My understanding is it's a couple of years into the contract. Last year it was paid for, I'm not sure what fund paid for it out of the town, but it was paid for out of a different fund. Delson asked me to put it in the building department. The other towns that I work for do actually any electronic permitting, put it in the building department fund. I mean, the building department expenses, so the building department pays them.
I know this was when Eric was here as our building commissioner, but I thought that there was no fee like this annually, and that any fee that would be covered by the cost of the permit itself, that the cost would be increased to cover this fee. So why? I'm confused then. I thought that the fees that were charged by the building department was going to cover the cost of the permitting software. I went to all the presentations.
Okay, so if it's gonna be paid, it has to be a line item somewhere to get paid, correct?
Right. I mean, so $10.
So is there a revolving fund set up to pick up the permitting fees?
I don't believe there is, on the building department.
Well, there should be.
No, the permit fees must go somewhere. I think.
But it was 0 last year and it's 15K this year. If it had been 15K last year, I would be okay with this, meaning that
But it was probably offered last year.
it was supposed to be free to the town, that because of the permitting, the increase in permitting fees. Permitting, I can pull up so why do we have it this year?
We have to pay them. I mean, if $10 of every permit goes to Permit Link, we have to, we're gonna cut them a check. Every month, they send a bill for $1,000 or whatever the number is, and we cut them a check. So it's gotta come out of some expense account. I'm not sure how the accounting department would account for it, but I understand what you're saying. It looks bad, but the fact is, it is coming out of the permits. You issue 200 permits in a month, you pay $2,000. That's how it goes.
Yes, so it's a wash in a sense. So why? Yes, where?
It's in a different account. It's under like a revolving account or some sort. I don't know exactly where all the building fees are.
We need to find this out before March 1st. We don't have to argue it now.
Right.
Okay.
But it's you only pay for what permits you issue.
Correct.
Using the software. So and last year there was a 0 on that line and that software was in use. So why is there 15K this year? I understand why you put it in there because you want it to be accounted for somewhere. But I want to know where it's been accounted for over the past 3 years. Because this went in when I was still a selectman the last time around.
So who knows the answer to that?
I have.
I can look into it, but more likely than not, it was probably ARPA, because there was a ARPA project.
And that installed the software. Yeah, I went to all the presentations that the building department did. The vendors came in. We looked at a couple different ones. We picked this one because there was no charge to the town once it got installed.
Do we own it?
Well,
We, more or less, as long as we use it.
I was gonna say, like leased software. It's
Yeah.
free as long as you continue to use it.
As long as you keep using it. If we stop using it, then we don't own it. It
so
goes
why
away.
is
That's a lot of money.
So why is $10 going towards paying them?
Because the way the deal with the company is, if you do 100 permits, you take $10 for each permit. So that would be $1,000 would go to the company. However, if you do 2 permits, the company charges you $20. So it's $10 per permit.
It's like
and
a software rental. You're renting the software, as you use it, for every use, you pay $10.
And the permit applicant is the one that pays that fee. So it was no. So it was no cost to the town on a continuous basis, and this shows that it is.
So the people were giving, construction guys were coming in with checks and paying me $10 or $20 for their permits.
And it got put in an account, and then when the bill came in, it got paid out.
So the account is missing. We don't know where it is.
Well, it's not missing. It's just where is it accounted
The income
for?
account, where is it? Yeah.
Where is it being
With a building fee,
recorded?
you know.
Where building, these fees being
And there should be
recorded?
like.
And-
Bob, don't you
permits
know
were
what you do with those checks?
This number varies. I'm sure that someone in the building department can tell us what they do with the checks. I'm sure they give it to the treasurer and it gets,
Right.
It's
Put in
probably
the
Janet
account.
who collects it.
yeah. And then the amount that you're billed is based on the number of permits that you
I
issue
get that.
at $10
And then you
per.
get an invoice and you have to
No,
pay it.
I get that, but what I don't get is the lost account, or the not.
It's not,
Income has to show
it's
somewhere.
how is it being,
Right, we don't have to be.
where are the ins and the outs? And it's never been put on here before. Because again, this is a guess. Maybe it will be less and maybe it will be more, depending on how many permits we issue.
Right, but the key piece is the fact that that fee, whatever that fee is, comes out of the permit fee that was paid.
Yes,
So it doesn't, so it's not something that the town has to budget for.
exactly. That's
Right.
exactly right.
Right, it should be coming out of the same account as what you put in.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
So the question is,
I agree with
why
you.
is the line item?
So
why
let's
is
just
this line
flag this, this is something that we can look at on March 1st and have an answer for. Because I hate to put 15,000 in the budget
Right.
when, and this
But it will be-
3,600, we can say, okay, this is covered by the 4,250 that we gained from the,
Right, but the other part is the permit money we take in is revenue that we get that goes into, say, general fund to pay this. So it's kind of like the debits and the credits all have to match. So it does need to be
But
some number.
our permit charge should be more than, it should be income producing. It's more than what we pay for the link.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
No,
So
he
let's
said
see what
that.
that
He
is.
said
but what I'm
$10
saying
on it.
is
Yeah.
the software,
It's-
we're not
it's an
paying for the permitting software.
We're paying for the use of it's like the licenses we pay for Microsoft Office.
Yes, but
There is a
except
fee, we
our
pay it.
taxes
It's kinda
aren't
like-
paying
but-
this.
No, the taxes aren't, but revenue is.
Revenue
And that's what I
is,
was
so
saying,
where
is
is that
Where does the
revenue?
revenue come in? Probably general fund when it gets.
I'm
deposited.
wondering if there's
And
a
then where's it get-
revolving for
Yeah.
this?
It could be there.
Well, it should be something set up if it's in its third year.
Oh, absolutely. This
So,
is,
it's-
and it's
sorry,
been working
But
fine.
we need to find the workings behind.
It doesn't ever show that before.
I want that out of there. It was 0 last year. It didn't all of a sudden jump up to 15,000.
So we'll look into that and then adjust where permits went.
What's next?
But we get why it's here.
And what are the professional services of 4170?
Okay, did you hear that question, Bob? We're looking for on the professional services line is 4,170 and looking to see what those professional services are.
I do not know. 40, I know it's for something good. I just don't know what it is.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I'm being honest. You know, it's,
That's a good answer.
4170. I will look into that and get back to you. I honestly, what was that? I'm sorry, I was told and I forgot.
Every year.
It's been the same every year, and to this point in FY 25, the December report, there's only $720 left in that account.
And in 24.
Okay, well, let's look.
15,000.
Yep, what? That's the 15,000 for the.
Okay.
And
in professional services.
in professional services, the line item in the 24 BVA says 15,500.
I wonder if that was the.
And well, that could be the
Would be.
15, that could be the 15,000
Permit line.
for permit link, and maybe it
And now
wasn't
it's down
separated
here.
out.
Right.
Right.
Versus up here.
That could be.
Okay.
That could be.
Could
We got a
be, it could not be.
Couple things to
Either
look
way.
at.
50/50.
How did they get their numbers?
Now,
Each department. Who knows?
okay, so is,
Yeah, we spent 4350 in so far in 2025.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I honestly, I will have to get back to you. I really don't know, and I apologize, but I'm not going
That's
to sit
fine.
here and try to pull my way through it.
Right.
We
We'll
appreciate
yeah,
figure it
you
out.
probably heard me with Carla. This is the opportunity. We're looking at it and trying to make sure that we right size the budget to what the requirements are.
Oh,
So we will get that and just do that comparison. So, does anybody have any other questions? Are we good with building inspector?
Yes.
We're good with the building inspector.
Okay,
We have
Now-
our questions, but we'll.
right.
get
We have
those.
questions, but there's nothing in
Nothing
addition to
No.
what was brought up.
So I
say-
will ask Janet to give us the account of where that money goes when she turns it in. And I
That
will
would be-
provide you with an answer for the $4,170.
Okay, that,
And the 15,000, right? You're gonna look
Well,
for
that's-
15,000 up too, right?
Yeah, that's what you said,
I
Janet.
think
was
so.
Well,
gonna
yeah, I mean, well, we will ask Katie where she pays it out of. So there's an account it goes into, and she must pay it out of some other account. So let's find all the accounts so we all can put our heads together and get it right.
Very good, that makes sense.
Okay,
Okay.
consider it done.
Thank
And-
you.
Thank you.
And I'm
Thank
just
you.
gonna-
Have a nice night.
Oh,
You
hang
too.
on,
Oh,
hang
wait,
on, Mark.
wait.
It's kind of like, because normally the building inspector gives us gives us weights and measures and plumbing inspector and.
I think those are all stipends, and I don't think they changed.
Yeah,
do they?
Bob told me that.
Yes, no, the plumbing
none
the
of them
plumbing and
changed.
electrical inspector are level funded from last year.
Okay, that, so
They
that's,
all-
Yeah, and then the weights and measures, same
Yeah.
thing.
Level funded, including on salary or stipend rather,
Including what? Yeah,
including
it's
the
all, yep,
stipend?
they're all, yep,
we're all good with.
yep, they're
Okay.
they're all level funded.
Okay,
Okay, so.
thank you.
Yeah, all right, so I don't understand, so that doesn't have to be in the budget because it's level
It,
funded?
it will be, it will
Oh.
be in the omnibus budget.
Mhm.
Oh, I think
These
you're
are the
forgetting about
individual
that.
budget, and we will see the big,
Okay.
the big
I get
omnibus
it.
budget. It's
Okay.
gonna look very similar to the BVA, where every line. Okay, so I guess we're good. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, have a good day.
Right. Cemetery and parks.
Back up to BPA.
Roger's been waiting forever.
Roger is very
I
patient.
was gonna say Roger has been very, very kind.
Steven's so quiet.
What color is cemetery?
Cemetery park.
The real purple?
Recreation, cemetery and parks.
Recreation, cemetery.
Yeah, cemetery and parks is account 491.
To be back at this table at 9.
491.
Yeah.
And
Well, the good news is,
So the small town community collaboration is happening? I didn't see any.
I have no, I don't know.
Kim Craven sent an email this afternoon to everybody.
I
She
think,
wanted to know who was gonna attend.
they must have dropped me off.
I didn't see the
emails.
email.
I didn't get anything either.
I got the text from Jeff Gordon.
You didn't
But
get
not-
anything from Kim? It was like between 3 and 4:30.
You might not.
I was.
During that time.
I got from her is June 23rd. 24.
So what line did you say that 15,000 was on, Dave? In the BVA? Because I don't see it in what I'm looking at for 2025.
No, this is, I was looking at the 2024 actuals.
Okay.
What was the number again? I moved my page.
241.
Yeah, 241.
And under professional services. So, yeah, if you look,
Quarter 3 and 4.
the first line on that lower section,
Did you get it, Jerry?
it says professional services, and it said the actuals from that
Did you
was
get it from Kim?
15.5.
Kim, yeah, between 3 and 4:30.
10, 24. That's this fiscal year.
No, that's last fiscal year.
Oh, she ran, I see. Okay,
Right,
I'm looking
yeah,
at the
the date.
bottom number, yeah.
Yeah, that's the date she ran. Okay. Are we good to go with
Roger?
Roger?
Roger, are you online?
Yeah, I like to preface with, I discovered our horse can sleep standing up. We're doing good.
Thank you. And then you'll be up in the morning, yeah. early
Yeah.
in the morning.
So what you're looking at with the department head increase and the operating foreman increase, those are contractual. Those are not union contract.
Okay.
Administrative assistant Pam
Yeah.
is not in a union, nor are the temp seasonal guys.
Okay, so
Oh, cemetery, 491.
right.
Yeah.
So
Just Pam and who?
Pam, and then Andrew is the foreman, the operating.
Yeah, who's the foreman? Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's contract.
Okay, yeah. And
My
so
temp
he-
help guys are not.
yeah, down below under wages is all your temp help, all lumped in. and
Correct.
it's Doing across the board 4%.
This is
for them.
Oh,
And then it, temp, I know something, yeah, I see the summer help go up. and all that.
To Pam and Drew.
Yeah. So, and I didn't realize Andrew had been with us and his longevity is going way up, but it's in the contract. I mean, that's when you're looking at that.
He's been here a long time.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And I guess is Andrew in a different union that they He gets $1,000 clothing allowance.
Yeah, yeah, Drew's not a supervisor union, he's in a highway union.
Okay,
And so, Roger, you're in supervisor 850 outfit. Alright. Okay. Pam doesn't get any.
She's not
Right.
union.
Non-union.
Yeah, Pam's salary's figured out between 9 and 10 hours a week.
that's a question I hadn't been asking. So it's generally 2 benefited positions with you and Andrew?
And Drew is, yes, yeah, and myself also.
Where's George?
Did we miss George?
Where's
Or
George?
is he lumped in with the temporary help?
Where's George, Roger?
Who's George?
Oh, I thought you said
You
George.
just said George.
For George yet.
He's looking for another check.
Yeah.
Oh.
I fired him.
Drew or Andrew.
Andrew.
Yeah, he goes by Drew.
Yeah.
So then we have temporary help.
Yeah.
Correct.
And that can be anybody.
Multiple people.
Multiple.
Yeah, there's like 6 or 7 wrapped up in that.
I was gonna say, some of them just summer only, so they come and go, and you may not know who they are year over year.
Well, I got a couple guys that come in over the winter to take care of the sidewalks.
Well, yeah. They do.
Yeah.
This is pretty simple.
Mm.
You didn't make any mistakes.
No, Roger's.
Nice job, Roger.
And everything is double funded,
Expenses, yeah, all level funded on the expenses.
yeah, nothing.
But it does, the total on the bottom says 16,403.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
But on the summary sheet, it says 10,293.
So little.
Where's the summary?
So in the summary, it says worksheet.
I see it, 1029.
Right.
Yeah, but the actual number is 16,403.
Should agree with department expense on the omnibus sheet.
Yeah.
So why is there $6,000? We're not gonna know until we have the omnibus sheet, is that what you're?
No, it's a mistake right here. If you look at the FY25 numbers
Yeah.
on the detail on the expense sheet, it does say it's 16,403.
Yeah.
On the both.
Oh, wait.
But if you look at the summary sheet, they just haven't been brought forward properly. Roger, can you see where we're looking?
Yeah, that number was carried over from a budget a few times ago because they had the budget separated differently for expenses on the omnibus sheet.
Right.
So now it's all one total.
So it should be 16,403.
Right.
8?
Correct.
16,403.
Yeah.
And that's what it was in 24 as well, the 16,403. So that's.
Yeah,
So,
level budget asked too.
Well, this year it's actually 17,876. So I think there's a slight miscalculation somewhere.
Was that because they went up on the communication on the telephones when they changed out the phone systems?
Let me see where the difference is. Energy went up.
No, it wasn't that.
Energy went up because right now it's 4227, but right now it's 5,700 for this fiscal year.
Yeah, they built that in. Eric built that in last year because of the energy cost increases.
Yeah, got it. But yeah, you are carrying the higher energy cost.
Yeah.
Isn't it down now?
I thought it was supposed to go down because of that.
Aggregate?
Yeah.
Not for, we've already done municipal aggregation. We did that about 5 years ago. The community aggregation does not apply to municipal
so they're
buildings.
going up
It's a
even now.
separate
Just residential?
process.
Yeah. So that 4227 for electricity, we probably should keep it at level funded at 5,700, which is what it's currently in the DBA.
Okay, so that's what makes it the 17 what?
Yeah.
17,876.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it is, no change from FY 25 to 26.
So that number's gonna be 17,876?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
17,876 with the change in the electricity going up to 5,700.
Excellent, thank you. Got it.
Now you can turn the heat
Does
up.
that make sense?
Yeah, I put the heat back on.
Okay, so that's it. Yeah. That's it.
That looks like it. One budget, one department, and fairly straightforward, 4% on the salaries and level funded on the expenses, and we've caught up.
So can I ask a question?
Yep.
I'm looking at that BVA, 5H21 capital cemetery column, blah, blah, blah. $15,000. What is that? Is that something that never happened yet?
Hang on.
I'm looking at the BVA January 2025.
So I think that was a town meeting article.
It is.
It sounds like, Roger, were you approved for some sort of columbarium a few years ago?
Yep.
Oh.
Yep,
Is that still in the works?
Yeah, that's still in the works, but that's coming out of my cemetery sale of lots fund.
Because there's 15,000 in an article here for that.
Yeah, there was a changeover where a few years back that the town should take over the cemetery sale of lots fund, and then they did, and then we had to start reporting those items in the budget. So
is this an annual town meeting article that could be given up to capital, perhaps?
It depends on whether they allocated the money from the cemetery receipts.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. It was moved and the money's there for it. But
yeah, because those are cemetery funds.
Yeah, we'll need to look at each of those articles and see how they were funded. If it was funded with the cemetery funds, then it should stay with you. But if it's not, then that might be a different conversation. But we'll look into it.
Sure, absolutely.
Thanks, Roger.
Okay. Sorry. Anybody have any other questions for Roger? Okay. And we're all set. Roger.
Thank you, Roger. Have a good night.
All righty, guys. Thank you. Have a great evening.
You too. Take care.
Try to get some rest.
Okay, last one of the night. One line.
Which is that?
Historic
The
District
Historic
Commission.
District Commission.
Why?
Is that in the book?
It's not in the book.
It's not in the book.
Oh,
Okay.
This is another one of those, looks like it's gonna be level funded year over year, but we would touch on it just because it's in the budget. It was in the budget and it had a section, so we were going through and identifying what we were gonna have.
Do you know what the department code is?
I'm actually trying to find it too.
We're lucky there's not another person here from historic. We'd have to have a quorum.
That's
We have
right.
to post, but we're not, just so that you know, there has to be 4.
Oh, wouldn't that have been something?
So it's 7 people? Okay,
Yeah.
that's a pretty big group. One of the bigger ones.
Get stuff done.
Quickly.
So more people means stuff that's done quicker.
I think it's under the.
Yes, we're all the same line.
Okay.
Did someone do the selectmen's budget last year?
I think it was in the selections budget, but I don't
I think it was.
It was.
Because you don't have a budget on your own, so I thought it ended up there.
It did end up there. How much was it?
$1,000.
Not much, yeah.
It was set up for postage and mailings and.
Yeah, right. Which hasn't been spent yet.
Not yet.
Unless it was done as a special article.
No, it wasn't. No.
No, it was done as a budget line.
Would it have been in the 2024 one as well? I don't see it
No,
in here.
it was new by 25.
Okay.
Right, we never had it before.
So while you're looking or discussing, I'm noticing in almost every single budget so far, there is membership fees and dues, subscriptions for every single one.
Yep.
Yeah. Including finance committee.
So if you join the
Think it's
MMA,
necessary
absolutely.
for
I do.
every single one.
Yeah.
Dues anyway. Most departments, including finance committee, we have dues that we pay to MMA and the finance.
But what about the? And you find it valuable? It's worth every penny that we pay them?
I've found it, and let me ask the new people that have the manuals from them.
Well, I think the manuals are, if they're correct, because it does seem like their manuals and what's happening in real life don't jive. Just saying.
Okay, but it's reference.
I think it's very good. But
Okay.
do we
Yeah.
pay,
I just
do we
had to
pay?
ask the question.
Yeah,
Yeah, no.
but Laura, to that question is, what are they, and does everybody
What do we
have it
get
out
from
itemized so that you know, or is it gonna be miscellaneous?
But what do we get from them?
Well, the books for one thing,
Well, yeah.
and they have training classes, and they have
Free?
That's the most important.
Some
I'm
of them are
not,
free.
yes, some are
Yeah.
free, the other ones
Yeah.
I've taken are free.
If you, conferences, you pay for it
Right,
usually.
The conferences.
They
and
have
the
conferences.
But
too.
the classes that they hold, you just sign up.
Yeah,
Right.
they're all free.
And I find them useful. I don't know, I take advantage of those things so that I know what I'm doing. I suppose some people don't, but I would venture to say that there's somebody in every department who does take advantage of it.
Yeah, they're very
So-
good. The ones I've gone to are very good.
Okay.
If you need, like MACC, Mass Association of Conservation Commissioners, if you don't belong to that and you have a question you need answered, who do you call? I mean, you don't, it's worth, I think professional memberships are worth it. I really do. And I wouldn't pull those out.
Well, if people are using them.
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
if we're paying for it, nobody's using it, that's another story.
That's different, but that's the question we can have as we continue.
Per department head.
Well, you have the BVA from the,
This is,
But that's not gonna tell us if people are using it. Then-
well, it will tell you whether we paid the membership or not. I mean, did
Right.
they pay the membership? So if you go, it's usually like one of the last lines
Right,
under
dues and
expenses.
membership.
Memberships.
Yeah,
yeah, I mean.
and if you look at the very last line, if they expended it, it would be down to zero.
Right,
Well,
but
some
that's
of
not,
them, though, they don't expend the entire amount.
So I guess, because when I was on conservation, we would increase that every year if it increased, and it paid for the membership for each of the commissioners.
Right.
Same with planning board, just to belong to the planning association. I think it's important. We're all volunteers and who don't necessarily have a career in the thing we're volunteering for.
Now, they're interested, so last year for the Board of Health, the dues and membership, they didn't expend anything.
So they didn't take advantage of it. So I guess if you're not going to use it, maybe you can take it away.
right,
But I think it's important to be there. That's me. Yeah, I think you should have the opportunity to belong to a professional organization and to learn more about whatever it is you're volunteering for. But that's me.
Yeah, but no, I agree that I wholeheartedly agree in education, but but to Lori's point, if they're not using it, you know.
Right, like Board of Health. If
No,
they're
if
not
they-
using it,
Yeah,
well,
they
let's
didn't-
get
they
that
didn't-
out of it.
Right,
They
or if
use it
they're
last.
joining and nobody is taking advantage of it,
So,
that's another
I
thing.
think
This
that's
is
a
a
question we should ask
question
on
on
the
March
next
1st.
round.
Right.
Yeah.
Only because I belong to a ton of them.
Mhm.
And I have decided after lots of experience that I'm dwindling down.
Yeah, if you don't use
Because you're
them,
paying
it's
for
not
somebody's
worth it.
salary at
Mhm.
those.
At that company, right.
At that company or
Exactly, yeah.
association.
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just browsing through 24 and, you know, there's several that they didn't use or at all, or they used half of it. And there's some that they used all of it.
Some of them, they do it by the number of people. Like MACC, each of us had our own membership. There was a
Oh.
town membership and then you paid a fee. And so some people didn't want to have that membership, but then you didn't get and you didn't get access to the online, how you do conservation information.
Yeah.
So it could be, that's why they didn't use it all, is that they didn't have a full board or every member didn't want
Sign
to
up.
be part of it. But I don't know.
It's a good question though.
I
I
gained a
mean,
lot.
if you look at the
professional
total that
membership.
the town spends
On-
for them all,
Just on.
it's
Yep.
big bucks.
Oh.
Not that big.
It's thousands of dollars.
It's maybe $500 for each board, roughly.
Well,
Yeah, some
We
is less,
we
some
had
is more.
$750.
The police
but
dues and
that-
memberships,
we don't have a lot of
18,000.
detail, But that's where we
What?
had printing that we did.
There's
I
a
knew I
membership line on
saw
the
a
police,
big
it's
one.
18,000.
18,000.
Now, they did use it all, but it's 18,000.
Right.
Now, that's a good question. What are they? Dues and memberships.
The Fraternal Order of Police, I don't
No,
know.
but how much does
And I
that
did
cost?
notice that the other night.
Yeah,
That's a lot of money.
some of them might include some sort of
Training?
insurance or
Maybe the NRA
coverage.
or something.
Fire EMS was 1,250 and 2,300, and they actually used fire used more, EMS used a little less, so, but I think it balanced out.
Yeah.
We'll ask them for it. I think that, so that's 12 and 18
If you're
is.
not using it, what is the?
Right.
If you're not using it, but if you
Yeah.
are
But that's
using
what,
it,
that's what I'm saying, that right there is $30,000.
Right.
Not to mention all the other departments.
well, I wouldn't, I don't know. It's-
I'm not questioning that they're throwing it away. It might be good to know
Well, they may.
why
we
it's so
can ask. I think it's
expensive.
important to ask
that can be a
question. I do.
March 1st
That could
question.
be
Yeah.
my first question.
You know?
It just come in, be prepared, and we can preload them with it. I mean,
Did we
that's-
decide?
Yeah,
Right, exactly.
No, it's in Board
we-
of Selectmen, he thinks.
We think it's in Board of Selectmen, but we can't find it. So,
I don't think
Board of
we've done a budget.
Yeah,
We
I
did,
can't wait
but
till
no,
last
you-
year.
Last year we did.
last year was the first
We had
year.
a nice little
uh,
budget.
check.
No,
one
Board of
time.
Selectmen.
Oh.
Yeah. No,
Oh, yeah, we have to discuss budget. We do.
Well,
Yeah,
Um,
but we're not
our
until
board.
later in the month.
Okay.
So we need to put it,
Oh,
is
no,
it on the
11th
18th?
hour
It
event.
is on the 25th,
Yeah,
27th,
we're
27th.
Then we need to add it to we need to discuss the
God.
budget in our next meeting.
On the
then.
18th.
I want to discuss it with our board before we discuss it with
Oh.
everybody
Well, I
here.
think you should do a free fall and just come.
Okay, that's what I think.
Right, but
Yeah, I'm not here on the
So,
18th.
is that
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Should make-
Um,
But you're virtual, so you'll be on the meeting.
I think we need to take the joint, close the joint meetings, and then we can move to.
Who goes first?
Do we want to talk more about trash before we do that, or no?
No.
No?
I
Okay.
think
I'm
there's
good
a
with
lot
that.
more discussion before we get closing in,
So we
closer.
just want no.
I do want to say, I think we need to be thinking about what we as a town are going to do if the override does not pass. And I think that on March 10th, we need to go to the town and say, okay, we're asking for this override. If it does not pass, this is what is most likely going to happen. We don't have to make the decision until April, but we have to have another budget in mind where, so I think we all need to think about how we do that. You know, what do we do if we have to cut $1 million? The school, you know, if the override doesn't pass in 2 out of the 3 towns, and the school district has to go back, the rules are they only have to drop their budget by $1. And historically, they've never dropped it by more than, you know, like 200,000 or 300,000, which, you know, where we had to then cut 75,000 or 80,000, but we don't have the extra million. So they're going to go for $1 million. It's 1.2 that they're asking us for, 1.3. We don't have it.
So you're saying the town has to go for the other amount?
If the school budget passes, in 2 out of 3, and we're on the hook for the 1.2 million, then we gotta find 1.2 million.
Out of the budgets that we've been doing here?
Yes.
You know what I found confusing on that school budget? There weren't any figures. It was all percentages. And I found that very.
They read the numbers to us. I wrote them down. As
Oh,
they were
yeah,
going. They weren't up there very long.
No, they were not.
So the video is online on the school district's website.
Right.
So you can go through the video and then just pause it where you need to write down the numbers.
Right.
But yeah, they did go through it kind of quick.
Kind of
Oh,
quick.
they
did.
Yeah.
But yeah, the video is online. It was
Right.
they adjourned at 11 o'clock.
It wasn't as
It's just shocking.
it wasn't as easy to grasp as Denise Pigeon's at Neshoba. She had the graphics and the whole thing. She had the
They always
gold bar,
do.
the gold
Oh,
bar.
I found it, maybe. Code 680,
Is that us?
Historic District Commission,
680.
Special Town Meeting Article 6, 5/7/2024.
Yep.
Historic, so you are code 680,
680.
and it was a special town
Yes, it
meeting
was. I remember
article.
that. Mhm.
So do you need a budget? Have you spent any of it?
No.
No, they haven't.
Then my vote would be just you have the article. If it's an article, it's spendable over fiscal years.
That's what you told me.
And so, and if you haven't spent anything yet, so if you're gonna be spending $100 for postage or whatever, it could take you 9 years to use up that. You know, and so go for a special town meeting article again.
This year.
Not this year. I would wait until we need it.
Because we can use the money until,
Oh, I thought you had to renew it every year. No?
If it's in the budget, you do, but if it's an article, which is what this was, it's available. That's like the 15,000 for the columbarium or whatever.
Oh.
It's available until you give it up, you know, and say, here, I'm reverting it back to the town. And it goes over fiscal years.
So we can use it.
Right.
We need
Yeah.
to use it for the mailing. We're gonna do a mailing to all the residents that are in the historic district. To let them know they're in the historic district, because a lot of people don't know. That's an issue.
Well, as long as you're not doing a town-wide mailing.
Well,
No,
I
it's
was
not.
gonna say mailings are not cheap.
You're right.
especially in the town.
There's 100 properties in the district.
Okay, so, yeah,
Take away churches, so 90, just say 90.
I mean, postage is, I mean, unless you have to pay for the printing as well.
well, we do, we have cards and we have to.
Yeah, we're getting cards.
Okay,
yeah.
so it's probably gonna be several $100s then,
Yeah.
because postage alone for 100 is like $70, I think, yeah.
Okay, so if you are putting another article on,
Okay.
the warrant closes next week.
Or,
Should we just leave it? We won't spend $1,000
annual.
between now and July.
No.
Oh, is it next week or am I wrong? Is it March first?
For the annual is March first.
March
I
first,
don't
yeah.
think we need to draw it. I think we just leave it sit, right?
And depending on how much your
We don't
mailing
know.
costs,
Yeah, we don't know.
Well,
how
it
much-
won't be horrible. I mean, it's only 100.
but that's this year. What if you need more? Then see
See,
how,
we should, yeah, I hear what you're
figure it
saying.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
figure it out.
We should protect it. We should protect it.
Okay.
So-
Okay, Mary Jane.
Okay.
Okay, that's the Historic District
Thank you very
Commission.
much. Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Laurie.
We did it.
Okay.
I remembered you got the money. I
do
just.
remember.
I thought it was an article, because someone had to stand up, and I think I had to stand up.
Okay, so.
Okay,
we are
who
ready
closes
to-
first?
We
No, no,
all.
we open first and then.
All right, I make a motion.
It
that-
doesn't matter.
I make a
Either way.
motion that it's gonna be
Close the joint meeting.
close the joint, oh, that's right, close the joint meeting with the board of selectmen
I'll
at
second.
8:51.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to close the meeting. Roll call vote.
Crazy. Julie, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
It's roll call vote to
Oh,
close the
Carol
joint meeting.
DeSantis, yes. I was listening.
David Walker, yes.
Mary Jane Churchville, yes.
Carol Hofstas, yes.
Sam Grant, yes.
John Hayes, yes, unanimous for joint meeting closed. But
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to close the joint meeting on the select board side at 8:54.
Four.
We're 8:53. Oh,
So
they're
moved.
never right.
Better not
So,
be.
second. Roll call.
Veronica Kell, yes.
Laura Schifrin, yes. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank
All right.
you. Now do you-
Oh, I just have one question. Who made the motion?
Scientists recommend this.
Who made the
Mary
motion to close the joint meeting for finance?
Mary Jane,
Mary Jane did.
Okay, and who was second?
Jerry.
Jerry, thank you.
Okay.
All right, do we have to adjourn our meeting?
I think
We did, we did.
No, you did the
We
joint.
closed the joint meeting.
Right, I think,
Now we
Is
have to
that it?
close our meetings, don't we?
I'm just looking at this. Our next meeting is February 18th. We have to review and sign payroll.
Yes.
But have we done that
Oh.
already this week?
I don't, no, that's not today because it's
No.
Thursday. That'll be Tuesday.
Okay.
Sorry, that
Tuesday's
was,
meeting and we
I
tried
meant to
again.
say that was
Yeah.
omitted.
Okay,
So
so we're
I
good.
think we should adjourn the finance
I
committee.
make a motion that we adjourn the finance
I'll
committee for
second
this
it.
evening at 8:53.
And we have a second roll call vote to adjourn the finance committee.
Joanne DeSantis, yes.
David Walker, yes.
Mary Jane Churchville, yes.
Sam Grant, yes.
Carol Hofstas, yes.
Hayes, yes, unanimous. We stand adjourned.